Well, I may be here, but I'm going to disappear. I'm going to get Brian on deck here. Give me a moment here. Let me turn my microphone back on. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for our first speaker. Let me see if I can find her here. She's going to be in a list. I saw her earlier. There she is. So, Laura, I'm bringing you up. You'll notice about a 5-second lag, and then you'll be actually in the room with Brian. And I am grateful you're here and have stayed up late. It's something we're really looking forward to. So here we go. Should be coming online here directly.
Okay.
Here she is.
There Hi. You are. Hey, Laura, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Curious.
I killed your mic accidentally. I was blanking mine and hit yours. Sorry.
Oh, I was curious what time it is. So you're in Amsterdam right now. What time is it there right now?
Yeah, it's 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thank you for being with us here at
You're welcome.
At 3 a.m. So this is Laura DeRocha, and the piece that she got honorable mention with, and it is, I have to tell you, Laura, one of my favorite titles out of all the pieces, caught my attention. Third Rate Pets, and it was actually very funny. So why don't you share that with us and tell us how you came up with the idea?
Thanks. You want to hear about the idea first, or I
Sure.
do it first?
Yeah. Why don't you tell us just quickly how you came up with that title, and then you can share the story. That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I started going through my early childhood pets and how I didn't really like them, and I always felt like they weren't real pets. And just the name Third Rate Pets kind of came to me. I don't know. Yeah.
Great. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. So you want to go ahead and read that piece for us?
Yeah. Okay. Third Rate Pets. Growing up, my parents didn't allow me to have real pets. The kind of pets that follow you around the house and miss you when you're gone. I had to get by with third-rate pets instead. If it was slimy, cold-blooded, and dull, I could have it. But a cat or a dog was out of the question. My parents contended that my sister and I would eventually get bored, and it would be up to them to exercise the pet and pick up the poop. This argument was based on no evidence besides their prejudice against children. I knew they were wrong. If I had had a top-tier pet, I would have cherished every scoop of poop, every ounce of puke on my lap. Because in exchange, I would have gotten the unconditional love that my parents never openly expressed. The first creatures I was interested with were ants. Around the age of 6, my parents gave me an ant farm, a narrow acrylic box filled with sand. I carefully captured the new ant farm inhabitants from the backyard, with only a couple of squashed casualties. But once the ants started wandering around the box, I realized that this was the same as watching ants outside. So I gave them back their freedom by releasing them in the trash can. The following pet iteration was with silkworm caterpillars. I kept 8 of them inside a shoebox. After a few months, the caterpillars turned into cocoons, and every time I opened the box, I hoped that a colorful butterfly would float into my hands. But instead, I got a cross between a moth and a hairy tarantula. It couldn't even fly. It laid creepily on top of its pile of eggs, waiting to die. I didn't need to wait for all the cocoons to hatch to know that I'd had enough of caterpillars. eventually come to my systematic application of the world's most effective child negotiation strategy, begging and crying, and they brought home a goldfish. Not super exciting, but a classic pet. "This is your pet," my mother said as she poured a scaly blob from the plastic bag into the fishbowl. "I'm not feeding it, you are." "Yes," I told her without hesitation. "I'll do it, don't you worry." I was determined to show the adults I could handle any pet they threw at me. I would get experience with menial pets, and one Christmas morning under the tree, I would find a golden retriever puppy with a red bow around its neck. I followed my parents' instructions to a T. 1 pinch of flake food twice a day. But after a week, I woke up to find the goldfish floating lifeless on the water. We replaced the goldfish, but the next one only survived 4 days. I was worried my parents would blame this disaster on me and put it on my record, but they brushed it off as a natural lifespan for goldfish. I then upgraded to pets with a name. I got a red-eared slider turtle, which I called Macarena. I failed to realize the irony of naming a notoriously slow animal after the dance craze of the 90s. I took care of her for 2 years, until my parents decided to remove the tank's water while she was hibernating, and she dried to death. This tragic incident had a silver lining. My parents, burdened by the guilt of the negligent homicide of the turtle, finally allowed me the privilege of warm-blooded pets. I went to the pet store and chose a pair of Russian dwarf hamsters. They were the smallest, cutest hamsters I'd ever seen. We named them Ugo and Ugolina, after the trolls in a Danish video game I used to play with my sister. Ugo and Ugolina made their hatred for me very obvious. Whenever they saw my hand coming, they scurried to the edges of the cage, desperately fighting the inevitable. Whenever I'd pet them, I'd sustain several vicious bites a minute. But I didn't mind. I replaced their food and water every day with a smile on my face. I could finally care for fluffy, cuddly creatures. Another stepping stone to nobler life forms who would appreciate my dedication. One day, we got home from shopping to find Ugo and Ugolina lying belly up on the cage floor. My parents, the responsible adults who claim to always know best, had forgotten our little furballs on the balcony. And after hours in the scorching Portuguese summer sun, they had been fried to death. I was 10, and as I stared speechless at those little snouts frozen in a contorted expression of agony, I decided to take a break from pets, at least until I could keep them safe from my parents. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. And a turtle named Macarena. That's got to be the only turtle in this world named Macarena. Thank you so much for sharing that, and congratulations on being an honorable mention in the contest. We really appreciated having you, and I imagine that unless you've been drinking lots of coffee, you're probably going to go to sleep very soon.
Yeah, I'll listen to a few of the other stories.
Thank you for your interest.
Yes,
we're inviting the next honorable mention up, and that's Deva Gallagher, and while she's coming up, Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about her again? And
okay,
excited on screen. We'll
thank you.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Laura. Thank you, Laura, so much. So that was a very cool story. Next coming up,
she's not yet accepted, so she might have stepped away from the computer. She's coming up. This is, and I think I'm mispronouncing her name. I don't think it's.
I'm sure that I did too. I'll get it straightened out for us
earlier, and I think that's it. So she should be here momentarily, and you can introduce her and her story. And I will go away. Here she is.
Okay, let me ask you right off, because I know people have been doing this probably since you were a very young child. I'm going to say Deva, and am I correct? It's Deva.
It's Deva.
Deva. Oh my God, I struck out twice.
It's okay.
I don't know if I ever would have even thought of Deva. So this is Deva Gallagher. She was one of the honorable mentions. She is an artist and writer who lives in Montana. And you said that your husband is Scottish. Um, and tell him that I am greatly relieved to be talking to his wife.
That's pretty good.
Did you like that?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
If you just really quickly tell him one more thing for me, tell him that I like singing at first going to have a pint.
Okay.
Now, you should have only understood the word pint if I did
Yeah.
a really thick Scottish accent. So they have 3 children. They have a dog named Midnight, and she's going to share with us a piece called The Demise of the Marriage Tester. And thanks for being with us.
Thank you. All right, just gonna have a quick drink of tea real quick.
Sure.
Okay. An adventure recently occurred in our backyard on a windy Wednesday afternoon after a routine trip to the children's dentist. But before we get to that, I must start by telling you about the most contentious team construction effort ever attempted by my husband, Captain, and me. After several successful collaborative efforts over the years, our home improvement cooperative was brought to its knees by a Harbor Freight greenhouse kit, bought for the bargain price of $300. It became known as the marriage tester. The kit contained vague directions, ambiguous drawings, and millions of extra parts. The job site ambiance was made more tense by 3 juvenile dog trainers putting their canine through his paces on an obstacle course comprised of greenhouse parts. Throughout the construction, the experienced red-haired instruction interpreter quit several times. A series of intense debates occurred in open air with an easy listening range of the next-door neighbors. It's most likely that they were unable to comprehend the heated replies of the mysterious foreign man that they still believed to be Irish, as the Scottish captain speaks very quickly when he's riled up. Well, all of that history attempted an escape when the greenhouse broke free of her tired anchors and cleanly scaled the backyard fence. The alert was first sounded by the plucky middle child. The high-pitched urgency of her call still rings in my ears, and immediately brought all parties to the kitchen window, where we observed the old greenhouse, temporarily pressed against the tall stump of an old tree that heroically stopped the wreck from smashing into the neighbor's house across the alley. For a long moment, we were transfixed as she eerily shifted in the wind. I have no memory of my exact words, but the young witnesses voiced their disapproval after the incident. I was informed that the expressive language was not meant for a child's ears. Donning shoes and coats, we raced out the back gate to the wreckage. The greenhouse has undergone numerous modifications and repairs over the years and had weathered severe hail and winds. The hardiest reinforcement, an inner framework of curved pipe, gave me something to hold on to as I pondered the best course of action. I did imagine finally getting to take a Mary Poppins-style ride over the city, dangling from the tattered remains of a Harbor Freight greenhouse. After a few moments of measured contemplation, it became clear that there were only 2 options. I could maintain my post for the next 2 hours and anchor the wreckage until the captain came home from work to assist me, or I could follow my natural instinct and smash the buoyant remains to pieces. I shrieked for one of my assistants to bring me a hammer. The middle child rapidly equipped me with the closest one available. The eldest recalled later, "You really went to town with that thing." I began knocking out the polycarbonate panels using both the hammer and my left foot to take the wind out of her weary sails, while the 3 children gathered up the fractured pieces and chattered delightedly amongst themselves about the dramatic scene of which we had become the key players. I emerged from my frenzied state after a time when I felt quite distinctly that I was being watched. As the rage cleared from my eyes, I found that our predicament was being quietly observed by both a teenage boy and a kindly retired gentleman who at some point came to be standing within 5 feet of the cacophonous deconstruction and were, prior to that moment, unfamiliar to me. I cannot tell you how long they'd been standing there or from which house they'd come. I calmly denied the man's offer to help and assured him that the situation was well under control. He did not take my word for it because he returned with an extension cord and his ragged old saw a few moments later and employed the friendly teenage boy to hold the frame as he began to saw into the metal. After a few cuts, I dragged the largest part of the battered carcass back into the confines of our yard with the assistance of the twinkly-eyed gentleman and secured it. Ours is a quiet neighborhood where each keeps to themselves. I will admit it goes against my nature to ask for help from anyone and have much difficulty accepting it graciously. But sometimes our own efforts are most effective as part of a team where both the work and the camaraderie of a heroic effort are shared. That's all. Oh, I can't hear him.
Oh, can
Sorry
you hear
about
me?
that.
I can hear you now, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. We really appreciate it. Dava, I got it right this time.
You got it, yep.
And yeah, keep on writing. I think it's great. And we really appreciate you being with us. And I'll see you and your husband in Glasgow.
Okay, or Edinburgh, yep.
Or
Thank you.
Edinburgh, yes,
Thanks for being
absolutely.
here.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful reading, and it was just the delight of our judges. So you were a big hit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been great. I've loved the conference. Very, very good.
Oh, great.
Well, we're gonna wish you a bon voyage. Hope you can hang around for the Zoom session. It's going to be messy, but it'll be in 45 minutes so. And if not, then thank you for being here for this.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I am going to see about Sarah. She was there a moment ago, Sarah Totten. And I had my cursor hovering and then made a mistake. Here we go. So about 5 seconds. So if you want to pull up her bio there and tell us
All
something
ready to
about
go? Yep, ready to
and
go.
I will get out of your way, and I'll turn my I keep turning your microphone off. Maybe it's a passive aggressive thing. I don't know.
I think it probably is. Yes.
She is accepted and is coming on board. So
All
Hello.
right. I see a kitty cat. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I was like, is Sarah the kitty? Wait a minute, what's going on here?
No, I usually use cats as my avatar.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
This is Sarah Totten. She's a humorist, short story author, and accidental poet. Her humor pieces have appeared at McSweeney's Internet Tendency, Points in Case, The Belladonna, Slackjaw, and Little Old Lady Comedy. She's one of our honorable mentions, and Sarah's going to share with us a piece called The Natural History of the American Businessman. And Sarah, thanks a lot for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Okay, I'm going to go right now. Okay, Natural History of the American Businessman. Identification. Head and body, 1,500 to 1,700 millimeters long. 1,510 to 2,200 millimeters with neck appendage. Weight, 1/30th the capacity of a normal high-rise passenger elevator. The American businessman sports a pair of hind legs that are often scaly due to the failure to regularly moisturize. These are usually hidden by the plumage. Plumage, predominantly blue, brown, or black. The American businessman knows that conformity confers protection. The American businessman sheds his plumage every evening and acquires a new, equally drab and conformist plumage at the beginning of each business day. The neck appendage, or tie, is seen on all American businessmen, despite the fact that it looks quite silly and has no apparent function. The forelimb often bears a limb extension or phone, usually attached to the hand, although it may sometimes be seen sprouting from the head. It is shed periodically when the American businessman wants to upgrade. The distinctive call of the limb extension can often be heard during seminars and lectures and is answered by the surrounding American businessmen with a shh sound. This is possibly a mating or territorial refrain. Scientists aren't sure. Range, predominantly concentrated in urban areas, except during vacation season. Status, threatening. Reproduction, males lay their eggs in June during convention season. Eggs may be found sequestered in the minibars of hotel rooms or in the piranha tank of the reception area. On finding the eggs, females may ingest, incubate, or discard them, depending on the net worth of the American businessman who laid them. Frequently asked questions about the American businessman. How fast is the American businessman? American businessmen can be clocked at speeds of up to 350 kilometers an hour over land, 5 knots per hour over water, and 575 miles per hour through the air. Unassisted, the American businessman has been known to achieve speeds of up to 6 ballrooms or convention halls per minute, particularly when the complimentary breakfast buffet is about to close. Are American businessmen dangerous? Out of his natural habitat, the American businessman is usually safe to approach. Inside his natural habitat, he should be observed with a healthy amount of caution. Do not, under any circumstances, stand between an American businessman and a screen that he is watching, not even to make shadow puppets. An American businessman has been turning up in my backyard for the past few nights. Should I feed him? On no account should you feed American businessmen in the wild. This is the job of a qualified caterer. I have an American businessman in my home. How do I get rid of it? Most exterminators will not take on American businessmen. So if you have an infestation, you will need specialized support. To deter infestations, sprinkle bone meal, ground black pepper, dried blood, or freeze-dried testicles around the perimeter of your garden. And don't go to Harvard or MIT, or one of them might follow you home. Do American businessmen make good pets? It is illegal to keep an American businessman as a pet. If someone tries to sell you one, they are probably running an illegal American businessman mill or cube farm out of their basement and should be reported to the appropriate authorities. American businessmen should only be produced by reputable breeders or universities who will assure that they will be placed in an appropriate foster cubicle or forever office. That's it.
That was really funny. I'm not an American businessman, and I think you hit. Is it scary if I'm not an American businessman myself, but a lot of those things apply to me?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Well, especially the one with the breakfast buffet. We probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. I would be like, I'll be back in a couple hours. I'll talk to you in a minute. Thank you so much, Sarah, for congratulations on the honorable mention. Thanks. In the contest. And that was Sarah Totten. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you. It's great.
Okay, we are now inviting up our next presenter. And I muted your mic because there was a little paper rattling going on.
It's all right. Yeah, I'll watch that. And then we have no bio for the very last honorable mention.
Okay, well, and that's because we haven't heard back from him. So we can make stuff up.
We'll make stuff up. It'll be improv.
That's right. He's a wire walker. So let's see. I let her know she's invited. She's accepted and connecting. So I will mute my mic and allow you to introduce Alice.
All right.
Okay, it's been a moment. So let's see if we're having any technical things. Shows she's accepted and connected. And if it doesn't work, we'll let her stand down. So there she is.
Oh, there she is. I see someone that looks like she might be named Alice. Alice,
yep,
I'm gonna try. I always like to try people's names, and so I'm gonna try your last name because it's one of those ones that you've probably had butchered several times, and I think that it's Mashaney.
You got it. Most people come up with Muscany, so you did good. So.
Oh, Muscany. Oh, yeah. Okay, I could see that.
You got it right.
Well, thank you. So this is Alice Mashaney. She writes mostly about family members who always manage to bring her to the laugh. Her essays have appeared in numerous anthologies, magazines, and newspapers. And when she is not busy writing and working on writing projects, you can find her hiking, swimming, taking pictures, anything. I like this part, anything but housework or cooking. So if you do housework or cooking, then go treat Alice to a little something. So again, Alice Mashaney, an honorable mention, and she's going to read her piece, Even Stevens. And Alice, thanks a lot for coming.
Even Stevens. A breast cancer diagnosis in my early 40s led to a partial mastectomy. Afterwards, a surgeon informed me he removed over a fourth of my breast. It's a good thing I'm no Dolly Parton. Luckily, there wasn't a noticeable size difference between lefty and righty. Only now, one headlight pointed upward. Over the years, the others continued to head south. One morning, I tried on the perfect dress that I purchased for my niece's fancy wedding in downtown Boston and realized the lopsidedness was quite noticeable. When I walked into the local lingerie shop that catered to mastectomy patients, the sales clerk hastily escorted me to a dressing room and took my measurements. She left me freezing and topless while she searched for an appropriate-sized holster and returned with a mastectomy bra and a silicone gel prosthesis that resembled a chicken cutlet. I'd just been pondering what to fix for supper and made a mental note to stop by the store on my way home to pick up chicken. Geez, the cutlass must have weighed 5 pounds. I've been known to remove my earrings before stepping foot on a scale. The pocket would need to be emptied for sure. Thanks to the prosthesis, the left side now stood firm and round, but the unassisted drooping right side screamed for attention. The sales clerk headed out to find a solution and waltzed back in a few minutes later. Here, honey, this should do the trick. Feeling like a preteen stuffing tissue in a bra, I tucked the oval-shaped foam breast enhancer in the other cup and smiled as I admired my now perfectly symmetrical shape in the large oval mirror, thinking I looked hot to trot. But when I glanced at the itemized bill, sticker shock set in and my joy quickly faded. That was one costly cutlet. Deciding cute shoes would be more fulfilling, I decided to skip the mastectomy bras and prosthesis and opted for the simple $10 foam filler instead. Running late the day of the wedding, I hastily shoved the padded insert into the bra cup that housed my damaged headlight and slipped on my fancy gown. I twirled round and round, pleased at how natural the woman staring back at me in the mirror looked. The ceremony was breathtaking. Afterward, as we stood in the receiving line, my husband tapped my shoulder, frantically trying to get my attention. Finally, he leaned in and stage whispered, "Honey, your new boobie's escaping." I gasped when I looked down and spotted the glaring white insert rising above the neckline of my dress. My face flushed bright red as I forced the deserter back down to where it belonged. Thank goodness I didn't know any of the guests who'd witnessed my humiliation. Hopefully, they were all from out of town and I never have to see them again. Holding my breath, I turned and speedwalked to the nearest exit. My better half trailed behind. When the coast was clear, I let loose and my giggles turned into snorts that matched the volume of his belly laugh. After swinging my neck back and forth like a bobblehead and making sure no one was within a country mile, I whipped out the embarrassing puppy and shoved it in my purse. In between another round of hysterics, I declared, "That does it. No more even Stevens for me. My girls and I are just fine as is, thank you very much." Later, at the buffet serving line, I chose prime rib. With a twinkle in his eye, my better half snickered. "Honey, are you sure you wouldn't prefer a chicken cutlet?" The end.
Am I on? Can you hear me, Rob? Oh,
I
there we
can
go.
hear you now.
We were
I
talking
can hear you
earlier.
now.
We were talking earlier in the conference about writing about tough things, mental health issues, cancer, things like that. And Alice just gave us a great example of taking something that was a scary, painful thing that she had to go through and writing some great humor. So congratulations on that. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. We have not heard from Ed, our final honorable mention. So I will read his piece. I have it.
Okay.
And we'll try to do it justice. It's The Risk by Ed Barnowski. After graduating high school, I decided to take a year to travel across the country by hopping freight trains and hitchhiking. I might even get to Alaska. A month later, I was in a diner in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I met a couple of ranch hands. One was a drifter named Adam Stoll, and the other was Gary Benton, a rodeo rider. They were heading to a ranch up north. Gary said, "It's springtime, so all the ranchers are looking for help to break horses and round up cattle," and asked if I'd like to go along. And I said, "Sure." We got in their battered pickup truck and headed north on Route 25 and turned off at a small town called Chugwater. A few miles outside of town, we came to the ranch. Gary introduced us to the ranch owner. We were hired for $30 a month. The foreman took us to the bunkhouse and showed us where we were to eat and sleep. The next morning, we were roused out of bed at 6 a.m. After breakfast, we went down to the corral where there were 10 horses to be broken. What I didn't know about horses would fill the Library of Congress. Gary said, "Oh, don't worry, Adam, and I will take the first two and show you how it's done." Gary picked up a dappled gray to ride. The cutout rider roped it and brought it up to the post set in the middle of the corral to control the horse while it was saddled. Adam had a bandana over the horse's eyes and held its ears. Gary threw a saddle and cinched it up. A rough piece of braided rope was used for the rein. When the horse was saddled and haltered, Gary climbed into the saddle and wrapped the halter around his right hand and told Adam to take away the bandana. The horse bolted to the left, went straight up off the ground, and shot full tilt towards the corral fence. In an instant, he stopped dead. Gary must have sensed what the horse was about to do because he wasn't thrown off or out of the saddle. The game between horse and rider, bucking, running, stomping, head up and rump swinging, went on for a few minutes until the horse began to tire. Gary dismounted. Adam pointed out the horse he wanted, and the ritual was repeated. Now it was my turn. The horse was picked out for me. Before Adam put the bandana over the horse's eyes, I looked into them, and they seemed to say, "I'm going to kill you." When the saddle was cinched, Gary helped me mount. I copied them and wrapped the halter around my right hand. Adam pulled the bandana away. The horse chomped down in the bit, stretched its neck straight out, and nearly pulled me out of the saddle. Horse and rider were now at least 9 feet in the air. When we came down, I felt like I was being driven through the horse's back. In 3 hops, we were 20 feet along the corral fence. The horse threw his head left while swinging his rump right. At that point, I felt myself flying through the air and then slamming into the fence. My arm hit the middle rail and my head hit the top rail. The horse went by. His hoof caught my left buttocks. I must have passed out. When I woke up, I was in a bunk as a grizzled old man finished putting a plaster cast in my arm. Adam and Gary were standing there grinning. Gary said, the greenhorn always gets the meanest ride. The owner came in and read them the riot act. He said, what am I going to do with a green kid around here? The next day, I was looked in the mirror. I had 2 black eyes and a lump on my forehead, the size of a walnut that hurt like hell, but it was nothing compared to the pain in the rump where the horse's hoof had hit me. That had me working in the kitchen until it healed. By that time, where I got to where I could ride again, they had the horse to the point where it would tolerate a rider. Then they gave him to me. I named him Devil. When riding, I held the rein too tight or turned too close to the horns of the steer. He would bite the bit and give me a good yank to let me know who is boss. Whew. Well, at the end of the season, we paid our wages. Year headed for Arizona, and Adam was going to California, and I was going back to Connecticut. Goodbye, Devil.
Oh, nice.
I know. Well, Gary,
I like that little ending.
Ed had been here to read that, but I'm glad we were able to share it. So I'm going to go on, and now we're through the honorable mentions. We're going to bring up the first person to be recognized for first place win. And let's see, I had her queued up right here, and I think that is, if I'm not mistaken, Amy Ma win the workplace category. And I just saw her; she's right there. So we're going to bring her on stage, and I will go away. So Amy Ma, and you could talk a little bit about her piece, and ask her why the title. I think you'll find out. You're looking good. He's here.
Hello.
I see a picture. Oh, I see a live person. Hey, Amy, how are you?
Hi, good.
Good. This is Amy Ma. She is the first place winner in the workplace category. She is a writer and storyteller from Los Angeles, and she has appeared on such shows as KPCC's Unheard LA, Shine, True Tales from the South Bay, etc. And her writing can be found online at How Pants Work, The Haven, and Little Old Ladies. So before you read your piece, well, I guess maybe we'll find out. We'll find out, because The Rock, that could mean a lot of things. So here's Amy Ma with her piece, first place winner piece, The Rock. And Amy, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you. I took an entry-level job at a skateboarding company. It was a hub of artsy, creative types, and I wasn't sure if I fit in. There were skaters, videographers, designers, art directors, etc. My job was data entry in the sales department, but I wanted to be known for more than just my job. I needed to figure out what my calling card was going to be. I found the answer during a lunch break walk when something caught my eye by the railroad tracks near my workplace. I picked up a 10-pound hunk of concrete with sharp pointed edges all around, and I thought to myself, I gotta put this in my cubicle. When I got back from lunch, I displayed the rock in the corner of my space for everyone to see. At that point, it was more than a rock. It was a conversation piece and a real people magnet. Coworkers would walk by and go, "Whoa, what's that? Is that a rock?" They laughed when I said, "Yeah, that's my pet rock." Now, everyone wanted to talk to me. Things were looking up until the day my rock went missing. I couldn't find it anywhere. Later that day, I saw a message sent from rockheldhostage@gmail.com that began, "I have your rock. I'll contact you when the time is right." I replied, "How do I know my rock is still alive?" The next day, Rock Held Hostage sends me 2 photos. The first photo had my rock in front of a newspaper with the date in clear view. The next was of it at the beach, rocking a pair of shades. I had no proof, but I suspected that the person who took my rock was Marco, a stocky jokester type of guy working in sales. He loved to say things to make you feel a tad uncomfortable. For instance, when a sales rep named Ricky Down fell and broke his arm, Marco started calling him Ricky Fall Down and Ricky Down Syndrome. And Marco spooked me once when he stood very closely behind me while I clocked in at work. He whispered in my ear in the tone of a serial killer. "Around people, you just crumble." A week later, Rock Held Hostage emailed, "I heard you've been exploiting the situation, which isn't good for your rock. Since you didn't keep quiet about this, I'll hold on to it a little longer. FYI, there's a cement factory nearby your building." The attached photo showed my rock duct-taped to a wall. Rock Held Hostage went silent, so I put up a sign that said, "Rock is dead." As months went by, I forgot about the rock because I was tapping into my creativity in other ways, like organizing fun office events, potlucks, even a game of skate competition, which boosted my reputation. I didn't need the rock anymore. Months later, Rock Held Hostage sent me a message. "I found Jesus and will set your rock free." The next day, the rock was in my cubicle with a shipping tag attached. The rock gave everyone one last laugh, and things were quiet after that. As time went on, I became restless and unhappy with my data entry job. Ricky Falldown was also unhappy doing sales, and he told me on his last day, "It was Marco, he took your rock." I shrugged it off because I didn't care anymore. I was in a dead-end job, and that rock was dead weight. So on my lunch break, I stuffed the rock into my bag and headed towards that cement factory. When I got tired, I dumped the rock by the side of the road, and I didn't look back.
Whoa. Very nice. I love the hostage situation going on there. That was Amy Stone, and she came in first place with that, with the rock. Thank you very much, Amy, for sharing that. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we have another first place winner ready to go, and that's Jillian, and I will bring her on stage directly. You can pull her stuff up. It was in
Gotcha.
which category? I should have that right.
School category.
That's it. Yeah, and I think I met Jillian through the IRMA conference. It's not the first time I've come across a talented woman. So welcome, Jillian. I will get out of the way. The anticipation is killing me here. We will see if we need to do anything technical, but if she's using Chrome, there's sirens in the background. I think they found me. Once in a while, we've got to bring somebody off stage and bring them back on. So it's taken a moment. We have another person out there if we have to go back to plan B, but let me see if, and I know, just we should play the anticipation catch-up tune or whatever. Well, let's see. Jillian, I don't know if you can hear, because usually it's like being beamed up in the transporter. I'm not quite sure what we never really know what people's state of consciousness is. They're moving through space-time continuum. But let me go on, and Jillian, I'm going to pull you off here. Watch her appear just as she does, and I'm going to bring you back on again. That usually does it. If not, we will try something else. Oops, I misspelled your name. That doesn't help. Here we go. So we're going to invite you back on again. You've been invited again, so you'll need to you will need to hit the accept again. Hopefully that's happening. Yep. And I saw that the question about future contests. Well, this is the first time we've done this, and it was a lot of fun. So, it certainly will be a feature of the conferences going forward, and we'll see if we can have something happens a little more often. That would be fun. I'm really gratified by the entries we got. They are fun and cool. So I am going to go on and let me email Jillian. Let me go on and I thought I heard sound. I'm hearing things. Well, I'm going to leave her prompt up, and if she pops up in the middle of someone else's read, I will deal with that. But let me go on, and we had I just heard from someone else, and Jennifer True just confirmed that she was on board. So we will. Nope, that's the wrong person. Let's go on and see if Jennifer is with us. I may have to email or get on the phone with Jillian. Hopefully, I just saw her. I think capitalization counts. There, nope. Well, let's go flip over another category here. Let me get down to my list of. We've heard that Jennifer True, but I'm not sure she's with us yet. I'm seeing her. Let me look in the list. Sometimes the search function doesn't seem to be right. Let me look. I'm looking for there she is right there. So I'm going to go on and invite Jennifer True on. And I'm going to ask Jillian to stand down for a minute, and we'll see what we can figure out. So Jennifer True should be coming up with any luck, and we wish her a warm and enthusiastic welcome here. People that are giving up, hiding Easter eggs at this very moment so they could be with us. So.
That's right. It is pre-Easter
Yes,
Sunday.
indeed. All right, we can do this. Accepting and connecting here. Jennifer True.
And that's what it's all about, Rob, accepting and connecting. So
I know. That's it.
We're doing that right now, and we're
well, our software is not helping us a lot here at the moment, but we'll see. And Kevin's with us. He's another first place member. So the thing of it is, let me go on it. Let me put a reminder in here. You can actually participate in the conference without using a Chrome browser, but when it comes time to get people on stage, this is usually where it's an issue. Let's see here. Who's that? I'm looking. We've got a message. We need to be entertaining. We need to do something.
Karen's right about that. Hey, look over here. Look, while we're waiting for people, look, I can juggle. Rob's spitting fire over there. That's great. Thank you, Rob, for the fire.
Yeah, we need the Hoxies here. They juggle. We shared earlier today. We had the music session. We had, and I'm going to play some of Sarah's music during the session. We all get together in Zoom. So let's see here. Well, darn it. We will invite Kevin. All right. When I was a kid, there was a show where the host looked in the mirror and claimed she could see us. I kind of feel that way right now. You have to be a certain age to get that. You're probably too young, Brian. You got to be a geezer to know that one. All right, there's Kevin. We're going to try Kevin.
I'm feeling like this one's going to come through.
Well, they're probably all going to come at once, and that's okay. We can do something with that.
Romper Room. Yes, David, this is Romper Room. Absolutely.
Right. Kevin is accepting and connecting. Up. We have three people. We have the next three speakers all saying they're. You know what? If we get them, I'm just going to hide the ones who are not up yet. So let's do that. This is Jillian. Yeah, hoping to get this, please.
Okay, we have.
we may be interrupted. Okay, let me go on and Kevin, I'm going to hide you, but don't go away. You're still with us. I'm putting you in a little cubby hole, and we may get one other. So we have several on screen. Yay! Jennifer's crew is still kind of out there somewhere. Let's go on
We
and hear
promise.
from Jillian, and I will mute my mic. And you might want to turn the sound down, Jillian. It's confusing because you're 5 seconds ahead of the rest of the world. You just moved to the advanced class, aren't you? Aren't you flattered? So I'm going to turn my mic off. Brian, why don't you introduce Jillian? Looks
All
like
right.
she's settled in, and we're going to have some fun. Kevin, stand by. We will do you directly.
We
Wait.
Okay, is that you, Jillian?
Yes.
Okay, I think we promised you guys a little chaos today, so you got a little extra dose of it. So
Yeah.
this is one of our first place winners. This is Jillian Van Hefty, and she won in the school category. She's a stay-at-home mom, although I like she put in here that that's a misnomer because you do live at Costco when you're a stay-at-home mom. You live in a small town in Minnesota with your husband. You have 2 cheeky sons. You have a rescue corgi, and my favorite part of your bio, an emotional support Keurig. It's so funny. I think I might have a support Keurig that could really be supportive of yours. So I'm in that support group too. So power to the people. I love that. Emotional support Keurig. I'm going to use that if that's okay, because I think that's really funny. So here's Jillian Van Hefty, and she's going to be sharing her piece that got her the first place winner prize in the school category, Hearing Red. And Jillian, thanks for being with us.
All right. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties. I belong in the year 1950, truly. All right. It's called Hearing Red, my piece. When Charles Dickens famously wrote, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times," I suspect he was having flashbacks of when his kid brought home a recorder. Like all experiences that result in post-traumatic stress disorder, I remember it well. My son's teacher brought home a flyer announcing that the extraordinary historical instrument would soon be distributed to all 4th grade students. Please encourage your child to practice for 20 minutes daily. In the spirit of building a long-term solid relationship with music education, we suggest they assign theirs a name at Red. My son called his recorder Barbara. Barbara cost $6, not including the required sheet music of Frere Jacques and hot cross buns. All in all, she was less expensive and demanding of his time than an average girlfriend might be, so I fully approved of their relationship. When he pulled the 14-inch Scarlet Beauty from her flimsy plastic sleeve, my heart burst with nostalgia. It was the exact candy apple color as items from my little boy's childhood not so long ago. His steel radio flyer wagon, Etch-a-Sketch, Curious George's shirt, McDonald's Happy Meal boxes, the balloon and Goodnight Moon. I had to remind myself that he was no longer a baby. He was now a young man, a serious musician with incomprehensible yet undiscovered talent. Instead, I focused on iconic red accessories belonging to legendary rock and rollers. Elton John's whimsical rosy spectacles, Joan Jett's cardinal leather jacket, Jimmy Page's crimson double-neck Gibson guitar, Bruce Springsteen's faded cap tucked into the back pocket of his Levi's. That will be him and Barbara one day. I fantasize, duo extraordinaire. Several months later, the big day of the concert arrived. In the school gymnasium, anxious parents adjusted their iPhone camera settings, grandparents perused the programs, and younger siblings tussled and bickered with each other, impatient for the entertainment to commence. At last, the students, dressed in their Sunday's best, emerged from the hallway in a single file line and walked to their designated seats. In the middle row, my son sat erect, enthusiastic, eager. Barbara rested upright on his upper thigh. The conductor walked to her platform, and the audience quickly hushed to a complete silence. When she lifted her hands and suspended them into the air, the performers put their mouthpieces to their lips and intently stared into her eyes. Suddenly, the shrillness of 124 recorders ricocheted off the bleachers and cinder block walls. Entirely different images of red images appeared in my mind. A sucking chest wound, a stick of dynamite, conjunctivitis, my car's check engine light, red rum scrawled onto a door, the devil. In an instant, my dream of his auditory arts career was flushed down flaming tubes. Three Blind Mice would have been more aptly titled 400 Deaf Relatives. Why couldn't he have taken up more quieter hobbies? Something along the lines of miming, ant farming, shadow puppetry, rock, paper, scissor competitions, vaping. As it turned out, the worst of times wasn't with the recorder. It was the following year, in 5th grade, when my son introduced a louder, more obnoxious, curvier gal with steely looks, a baritone horn. Hold on.
Oh, we lost him. That's my bad.
Thank you so much, Jillian, for sharing that with us, and also for helping me create a much more intimate relationship with my Keurig henceforth. Very much appreciated. That was first place winner Jillian Van Hefty with her piece Hearing Red. Jillian, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. That was delightful. We're now going to move over to Kevin Bailey. He is already in the green room. I will bring him on stage. It should work. We'll see. This will be nice. And we'll turn on his microphone and hear what he has to say. Super.
All right, Kevin, thanks for joining us. This is Kevin Bailey. He is the first place winner in the outdoor category. And Kevin, it says that you started writing at the age of 60, and you also published 3 books of nonfiction between that time, between then and now. And that is pretty incredible. You have one of my favorite titles of the whole conference. So we're going to let him take it away. This is Kevin Bailey with Pecker Problems.
Thank you. I love the quiet minutes of early morn. It's a time when I lie in bed dreaming of the day ahead. This morning started no different when suddenly, brak, brak, a dentist drill vibrated against my upper jawbone. My eyes popped open like Kermit the Frog's. I blinked them hard several times. What in tarnation? Something was hammering on the metal chimney of our bedroom fireplace. I strode over to grab a fireplace tool. Sticking the tongs into the chimney, I answered back on the metal firebox with a mighty blam, blam, blam. Brilliant. Well, that'll show 'em, I said to myself as an avalanche of creosote powder cascaded down the chimney. My wife woke. What on earth are you doing? She said, opening her eyes just in time to see a cloud of soot wash over me and spread across the room like an onrushing Saharan dust storm. Bless her. She's stuck by me all these 30 plus years with faith that someday I will improve. Let me introduce you to the northern flicker. A common inhabitant of North American gardens, the flicker is a large, round-headed woodpecker with a bill designed for ripping into wood. Flickers excavate 3-inch round holes in the dead wood of trees for their nest. Alternatively, they drill into the timber siding of houses. Flickers converse with ear-piercing screeches. They also message each other by drumming their heads on metal chimneys at an impressive rate of 25 beats per second. Brap! I was sure this next message was directed right at me. I marched onto our deck overlooking the garden to catch a glimpse of feathered Ringo Starr. He peeked around the corner of the chimney to get a look at the pathetic bongo player from the house, an unshaven man in his briefs. I picked up a fir cone and threw it at him, missing badly. Ringo stared at me with a steely-eyed challenge. I threw another cone. He dodged it with an insouciant step to the side. I began a frantic barrage of cones at him like they were discharged from a Gatling gun. Then I heard my neighbor's back door slam shut and turned to see her drapes drawing closed. I probably should have put on a bathrobe. Finally, with mocking disinterest, the woodpecker flew into a tree just out of range and watched me with disdain. The minute I went back into the house, he flew back to the chimney and returned to his solo drumline. I have to admit, he had chops. After many mornings of listening to the woodpecker's rendition of Reveille, I needed to discourage his hoo-ha from my property. I visited the local garden store where they tried to sell me a homely birdhouse for $129. I thought, why would a flicker trade my heated home with a view of the yard and a built-in sound system for that? Another brilliant idea struck me. I went up on the roof and constructed a cage of chicken wire over the chimney. I highlighted my creation with mylar streamers on poles. To top it off, I stapled a dozen glimmering pinwheels. When the wife saw it, she said, "That looks like a shrine to Ganesh, the elephant-headed god." Whatever, it worked. The flickers stopped drilling on the chimney. Instead, they shifted to the siding of my house. I spotted several 3-inch nesting holes in the north-facing wall. This mischief was worse. The destruction had to stop. I paid a visit to the Eastern Mystic Bookstore. They advertise themselves as a metaphysical store with spiritual gifts and instructional offerings that include shamanic rituals, crystal healing, and tarot readings. The store is a vintage of the 60s. Clouds of patchouli wafted in the air. Sitar music played in the background. I thought I was experiencing a psychedelic flashback when a woman in a flowing batik muumuu approached me. Just as I began to speed dial my psychiatrist, she said, "I've seen you here before." The fact that I had actually been there before dispelled my paranoia of a deja vu moment. I bought an extra long string of Tibetan prayer flags from the muumuu woman. Actually, I purchased a dozen of them. The strings of waving flags now wrap around the second-story roofline of my house. Woodpeckers don't like them. It might be their movement. Maybe it's the karma. But now they shy away from my house. The neighbors don't like the flags either because the flickers pester them instead. Like any remedy, there are side effects. When the planets are aligned just right, a crowd of pastel-clad gawkers gathers outside our home, expecting the second coming of the Bhagwan. My wife lets me know when the Rajneeshis are there. She searches me out and gives me a long look. It's the same look I get when she detects a bad smell in a crowded elevator. It says, "This is your doing." Thank you.
Mike back. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much. That was Kevin Bailey. That was your first place winner in the outdoor category with pecker problems. Kevin, a great piece, and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
That was fun. Okay, we have two of the other remaining first place winners in the audience. Let's see. I'm going to try to bring them both up, and we'll see who we get. We had mixed results here, so we'll bring them both up, and one of them will have to kind of stand aside, but we'll see how we do here getting them up. So Linda has accepted and is connecting. Jennifer's been invited. Doesn't appear she's responded yet, but so both have been. I think I may have pressed the button too soon. So we'll see who we get on deck here, and then we'll go from these two to one last one. So it's been some wonderful greeting. It's so gratifying to have have these people stand.
Hey, we have somebody live here.
I know. And let's see what we have here. Let me put this away. And I pressed the wrong button again. Destroy my life. So this looks like Jennifer's on deck. Yay.
Jennifer True, welcome to our chaos, Jennifer.
Thank you. I like your chaos.
Jennifer, this is Jennifer True.
And connecting. Yeah. Jennifer, were you almost on stage a minute ago, or was that you, or was
Yes, I was
Okay.
almost a while ago. Yes.
Cool. So we've got you. I'm going to go on and have our other first place persons stand down, and you are, which shows you're not connected, but here you are.
I am
don't-
connected. Can you hear me?
I don't. Well, I'm sure you are.
I can hear her. She's
I just
connected.
don't want the other presenter to pop up in the middle.
She's very, yes, I feel that. She is very well connected.
Let me go on and ask the other person to stand down, and we will keep you up, and I will get out of the way. Here we go. Oh, kitchen envy. Yeah, I see that.
Kitchen envy. Oh my God, we're going to come up with some new words here. So this
I
is.
just got it done not very long ago. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
You
So
didn't get Kevin's woodpecker away from your roof, though. I'm just saying. Right, I'm going to go away, and Brian will do his thing to chat with you a moment, and I'll be
all
here.
right. Jennifer, thanks so much. So this is Jennifer True. She's our first place. There she is, well connected, as she said. I guess that's the universal sign. I'm going to start using that.
The ET.
She is, there you go. She is the first place winner in the pets category. She writes and acts in Washington State. She also holds a BFA from Emerson College in acting, and most recently appeared as Regina in Aberdeen. Wow, you've done a lot of things. And I have to tell you that I've loved your piece. I loved it. It was like a takeoff on. I'm not going to give away what I thought it was a takeoff on or anything. People are going to love this.
I think I know what you're going to say.
I think you probably, yeah. So you guys are really going to enjoy this. Here's Jennifer True with her first place piece called Yes.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me. And yes, this piece is called Yes. Yes, it really is. Okay. Mom, have you seen Yes? I ask. No, not recently. Why? Is she missing? Yes. Well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen her since I got home from school. Well, look in the laundry room. She likes it in there. It's warm. Yes, you're right. I run downstairs and look in the laundry room. Yes? Yes? Are you here? Oh, good. You found her, my mom calls out. No, I'm just calling her, Mom. I haven't even looked yet. I go in and look on the shelves and laundry baskets and on top of the dryer. Yes? Yes? I call. Oh, good. She's there. My mom calls out. No, Mom. Yes isn't down here. Oh, no, my mom says. Mom, can you call Mrs. Lawson and see if she went over there? Those kids give her treats. Yes, my mom says. Yes, of course, yes. Who else would I be saying they give treats to, Mom? Lucy, I'm saying yes. I'll call and see if they have seen Yes. Oh, okay, thank you. I say, hello, Mrs. Lawson. Yes, we're fine. Thank you. And you? Oh, good. Yes. Yes, the weather, it's been gorgeous. I hate to bother you, but we can't seem to find Yes. And we're wondering if you've seen her? No, we're not looking for Lucy. We're looking for Yes. Hello? Our cat? Yes. Yes, her name is Yes. The cat's name is Yes. Yes, exactly. And we're wondering if you've seen her, the cat. No. Okay. Oh, well, thanks so much. Sorry to bother you. No. Oh, no, they haven't seen Yes, my mother tells me. Oh, no. My mom begins calling all our neighbors. I decide to make signs to post around our area. I get on the computer to find some good pictures of Yes, and I put each picture with different headlines, and then I add in our telephone number on each flyer. 1, have you seen Yes? And 2, Yes is missing. And 3, looking for Yes. And I print them out and I go to show my mom and she's still on the phone. No, Yes. Yes, the cat? Yes, our cat is missing. Our cat, Yes. The cat's name is Yes. And we can't find her. Yes. my mom is saying. She seems kind of irritated. She hangs up. That's a no. Nobody has seen yes, my mom says. Oh no, I say. Well, do you like my signs? I ask. Yes, my mom says. Good pictures of yes, don't you think? Yes, my mom says. Guess what I found at the deli today? My dad asks as he arrives home from work. Yes, my mother and I both call out. You already know? My dad asks. Yes. No, well, no, I say. My mother tries to explain. Yes, the cat. We thought you were going to say yes, that you found yes at the deli, the cat. We thought you found the cat, yes. Is yes missing? My dad asks. Yes, my mother and I say again. Oh no, my father says. No, I haven't seen yes. I haven't seen yes since this morning. I bet yes, but no, I haven't seen yes since then. No, I saw Mrs. Perry that used to live next door at the deli. Mrs. Perry? My mother asks. Yes, my father answers. The cat, yes? I ask, confused. I thought she was missing, my dad says. My dad gets on the computer. He posts on the neighborhood groups about yes. So far, nobody has seen yes, my dad says. Don't worry, we'll find yes. No matter how many no's we get, we'll keep looking for yes. Thanks, Dad. Yes, we'll keep looking for yes, no matter what happens. Meow! Did you hear that, Dad? Yes, I think, my dad says. I think it's her too, I yell. Yes, yes, meow, meow. It sounds like it's coming from the basement. I go running down the stairs. Yes, yes, yes. Did you find her? My mom calls out. I open the laundry room door and yes, it's just making her way out from behind the dryer. Yes, yes, I call out. Meow, meow. Yes runs over to me and wants to be picked up. Did you find yes? My dad yells out. The cat, my mother adds. Yes, she's right here in the laundry room. Meow, meow. She is? My mother asks. Yes, my dad and I both answer. Meow, great. I'm opening a bottle of wine, my mother says. You are? My dad asks. Yes, my mother answers. Meow. Well, isn't it kind of early? My father asks. No, my mother answers. Well, I'll have a glass too then. You will? My mother asks. Yes. Meow. No more questions tonight. Agreed? My mother asks. Yes. My father and I both stay together. Meow.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go take a nap. That was very tiring. No, I love that. I thought that was fantastic. And there's a couple suggestions for you to look into making this into a kid's book. And of course, following that naturally would be a drinking game. So,
right. You know, it started out as a kid's book. So that's funny that you said that.
Well, that was a great job, and congratulations on your first place win in the pets category. That was Jennifer True with her story. Yes, Jennifer, thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, we're going to take another shot at bringing our final first place winner up before we hear from the grand prize winner. And I just saw her win. So this is hopefully we'll get Linda. I'm not sure why. It's always kind of a mystery when technology works and when it doesn't. So we will try this again, and hopefully, I'm hoping it will work. Let's see. Hey, oh, the technology gods are with us. Thank you. I'm going to get out of the way. Well, she was there.
Uh-oh.
Well, let's try it again. I mean, it worked for a moment. That's encouraging. Make for a long evening, but hey, let's give it a shot here. Here we go. Try again. Yes. Meow. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Meow. Yes. Keep it going.
It's going to be a while before I think of yes as I used to again.
I know.
It's
going to be different. Oh, there we go.
I'm here.
There you go. Hey. All right. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
This is Linda O'Connell, and she is our first place winner in the family category. She's an accomplished inspirational and humor writer and speaker from St. Louis, which is where my aunt is from. And I've been up in the Arch, so there's my little claim to your local fame. This is impressive. You've been published 31 times in Chicken Soup for the Soul books.
In
That
31
is-
different chicken soup books.
That is really incredible. So again, this is Linda O'Connell, and she's going to read her first place piece, When Only a Bottle Would Do. Linda, thanks a lot.
Thank you. My first grandchild, Ashley, has always won people over with her engaging personality. From birth, she had 3 generations of women wrapped around her little finger. My daughter, a young single parent, lived at home and worked nights, and I worked days. My mom babysat during the day. Mama was obsessed with Ashley. When we were all together, it was a house divided. We argued over who would hold the baby. Each of us thought we knew exactly what Ashley felt, wanted, and needed. She grew out of babyhood and into a verbose 2.5-year-old. She wasn't bratty, she was determined. She knew exactly what she wanted and explained in depth why. She didn't always get what she wanted, but we respected her right to ask. We wanted her to grow up to be a strong woman with self-confidence to state her needs and desires. Strangers would stop us and comment she should be in movies because of her verbose and animated friendliness. She was quite the little performer. No wonder she thought the world was her stage. She knew how to work all 3 of her directors. One day I took Ashley shopping with me. No sooner than we entered the dressing room, she began to whine, "I'm thirsty." "Yes, you are thirsty, honey. What do you want to drink?" She replied, "I want my bottle." As firmly as I insisted she did not drink from a bottle anymore, she insisted she did. "Yes, I do. Mama gives me a bottle at nap time." No doubt about it, she ratted my mom out. I'd deal with Mama later. "Think about what you'd like to drink," I said, trying to distract her. My little darling replied in her megaphone voice, "I'd like a bottle of beer." I almost choked. My eyebrows disappeared under my bangs. I wondered how long I could stay hidden in the dressing room filled with women snickering and gasping. "Beer," I said softly, wishing she would take the hint and tone her volume down. Surely my mother or daughter had not offered this child beer. Neither drank, but then my mom had been slipping her a bottle. I emphasized each word. "You do not drink beer." "Yes, I do," she countered, with wide blue eyes and blonde curls bobbing. "Ashley, where did you ever drink beer?" I asked incredulously. "In the orphanage," Big Mouth bellowed. My pulse raced, my blood pressure soared. "Shh, stop this nonsense. You do not live in an orphanage." My cheeks looked severely sunburned, and my eyes, under the fluorescent lighting, made me look crazed. "Yes, I do, and I have to scrub floors and wash dishes and wear raggedy old clothes." I was ready to clamp my hand over her mouth when she broke into song. "But the sun will come out tomorrow." Then she gave a detailed explanation. Excuse me, I dropped my paper. Of what she and Annie did in the orphanage. "Precious, just precious," a woman in one of the sitting rooms chuckled. "Precocious," I mumbled as I hurried my little darling out. I smiled tight-lipped and avoided eye contact from the peepers who just had to get a glimpse of our little miss. As I waited in line to pay for my purchase, Ashley again bargained for a bottle. My withering look didn't stop her, so I used psychology. I named every beverage I could think of. "Would you like red punch? Orange juice? White milk? Purple grape juice? Chocolate milk? Yellow lemonade? Apple juice in my bottle," she said, determined. I drove straight home and I poured apple juice into her sipping cup. By then, I needed a bottle. Thank you very much.
That's great, Linda. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was Linda O'Connell. She was the first place winner in the family category with When Only a Bottle Would Do. Linda, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Well, what a great evening it's been. Gosh, all this wonderful entertainment and people coming and seeing things. And sometimes it's hard for writers. I've been very impressed because writers often write because they don't want to be in front of people. So very generous of you all to be here and read for us. So hooray. And I see the name of the final person who we're going to hear from tonight. I'm going to try to bring her on stage right now. We'll see if that goes smoothly or if we have to kind of be in a Twilight Zone moment. But this is an entry that literally brought tears of laughter to one of our judges. So I'm looking forward to hearing it read, and we're waiting for her to come on stage. Is she accepted? Let's see. Accepted and connecting. Yay! I'm going to go away. And our final reader, being here.
Wow,
Hello.
thank you. Hi, Suzanne. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. This is Suzanne Cushman, who was what you would call best in show. She was the overall contest, best of contest winner and the grand prize winner. Suzanne, congratulations on that. And she said that she is newbie-ish, and she has been writing little pieces from about 5 to 1,500 words about her life and observations in a group at the Carmel Foundation for about 3 years. So again, congratulations on having the big win. We've heard from a lot of people tonight. And so tonight with our final grand prize person, Suzanne Cushman, we're going to hear her piece, Lifelike, really? Suzanne, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, lifelike, really? Dolls have never worked for me. It wasn't my parents' fault. Year after year, I opened my birthday present at breakfast and met the latest age-appropriate doll. It started with Penny. The brochure said she was the most lifelike baby doll ever. I never thought that, though. Apparently, the squishy body part designer never spoke to the stiff arms and legs designer. Penny's midsection was as pinkish as her extremities were yellowish. The result was spooky. I always talked someone else into changing her so I wouldn't have to look at her naked. Penny's worst feature, the one that gave me nightmares, was the one the manufacturer raved about. Squeeze her tummy and watch her eyes close, the packaging shouted. But think about that for a minute. Couldn't it just as well be saying, grab her in the middle, squeeze the bejesus out of her and watch her pass out? It didn't stop there. Shortly after I got Penny, I shut her head in the car door and one of her blue eyes shattered. It looked like something I'd seen through my brother's kaleidoscope. I cried and squeezed Penny as hard as I could, so I'd never have to look at that freakish eye again. A few months later, Penny went through the worst experience of her life. Her body was starting to look like a worn-out down comforter. All the stuffing settled below her belly button, leaving her chest with no stuffing at all. It was probably from all that squeezing to shut her eyes. My 5-year-old solution was to grab Penny by the legs and shake her upside down until she fluffed back to her original shape. What happened was a horror. I must have fluffed her up too much because her head popped off and rolled down the stairs. I was paralyzed, still holding the headless baby straight out by the ankles. Mother rushed Penny to the doll hospital, but even though Penny recovered, I was permanently scarred. No more baby dolls for me. That's when Chatty Cathy, a grade schooler like me, came to live with us. My age, Mattel's foolproof advertising campaign, and my birthday all aligned to make her arrival one of the most exciting days of my short life. I couldn't wait to pull the string at the back of her neck. I love you, she said, and I immediately fell in love with her. Some relationships weather all kinds of storms, and that was true for us. Within weeks, Chatty Cathy's left eye clouded over and turned white. On top of that, she lost her ability to speak. Instead of saying she loved me when I pulled the string, she let out a nails-on blackboard shriek. It didn't matter. I knew what she meant to say, and her disabilities never bothered me. But I kept growing up, and Chatty Cathy stayed 6, so she wound up in the closet, and airline stewardess Barbie came into my life. It was 1965, and I was 9. She was the doll of choice for millions of us flat-chested, spindly-legged 5th graders. At least Barbie was small enough to hold in my left hand while I turned pages with my right hand. Nancy Drew and Pippi Longstockings were far more interesting, but Barbie was new, and it made my parents happy to see I was paying attention to her. Somehow I amassed a gated community for Barbie, her friends, and their possessions. The 60s style house, the turquoise Corvette, handsome Ken, and outfits of every kind. Mother loved Barbie, so she probably thought I did too. A few years after Barbie arrived, I took her on a camping trip in the backyard. Barbie wore her new jeans, red checkered shirt, and high-heeled hiking boots. I set up the house with the Corvette by its side. Then I used dry twigs to build a tiny campfire nearby. The camping idea was working out well, so I taped a straight twig to Barbie's hand and poked the end of it through a bit of cotton puff. Now she could roast a marshmallow. I lit the campfire with a single match. Unfortunately, the marshmallow also caught fire. The flame shot up the stick to the corner of the house. I grabbed the garden hose and rescued singed Barbie, but the high-heeled hiking boot melted permanently onto one foot, and her long hair frizzled up on one side. Luckily, she had the Ally McGraw love story outfit, so I stuffed the kinky mess under her red knit cap. Barbie was the last doll for me, thank goodness. I was much happier catching up on the latest Nancy Drew adventure. At least I knew there would be a happy ending.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that was Suzanne Cushman, overall best of contest grand prize winner. Suzanne, that was great. I hope you keep on writing, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I want to thank everyone for participating, and I am going to put the link to a Zoom session if you want to have a chance to actually interact, and it's going to be messy probably, but there's 30 some odd people, and that's not completely outside the range of doability in Zoom. So we'll go there. And
we are going to toast this special event and this special guy.
Oh, thanks. Well, here's to all of you for being a part of our debut effort. So we appreciate that. And
I see the rest of the Lightfoots hanging out back there.
Yeah, I know. So here we go.
Clink.
Clink, clink.
Hey.
I know.
Clink, clink.
Congratulations, everyone. What a wonderful event. What a fun group to spend a Saturday with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. No, not the cat. Yes. It was fun I was saying, yes, it was fun to do the event. I wasn't talking about the cat. No, yes. Yes, it was fun.
Good. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I saw somebody in the chat suggested she have a story about a dog named No. The sequel. Anyway,
Well, there was one.
Yes.
Oh, I was just going to say, there is a comedian that named his dog Stay. So he says, "Come here, Stay. Come here, Stay." Very confusing.
Okay.
My sister had a friend. They could have cats, but not dogs in their apartment, so they named their dog Kitty.
Oh my God.
The landlord stopped by and go, "Kitty, come on, Kitty."
Come on, Kitty. Nice. Wow, that's pretty sneaky.
You have some music you're gonna.
I am going to play music. Well, I'm going to put music on here, and then I'm going to fire up a Zoom session alongside this. I have two cameras, so we'll see if I can make that work. But let's go on.
Let's hear it for Brian Wetzel, our MC.
I
Thank you, Brian.
appreciate you so much. So
absolutely, thank you.
Here's one of my favorite songs. If I can find it, where is it? Oh, here it is. It's a song about adventure.
I think I'm going to be off here in a minute. Oh, so 97.
It's the Zoom link.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for this stuff.
Hmm?
Do y'all see? I'll probably just hang out for a few minutes here, but not very long.
Okay.
Because I'm tired of the screen. All that stuff.
What?
There was a huge delay for about 15 seconds, and just now in my headphone I heard, I'm just going to hang out a few minutes, it won't be long. That's a little weird.
Well, you.
I need to take these off.
Reese's is the work of the devil. Because not only do they have like the normal, regular Reese's cup, available 24/7, 365, but then they give you these irresistible holiday versions, like the Easter egg and the Christmas tree, Halloween, Arbor Day, Flag Day. It's the bane of my existence. Versions. That's weird. Rob, it's been a long day for you. You must be exhausted.
It has been a long day. I'm trying to elegantly end the other session.
Just tell him you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Okay, so I got off.
You must be exhausted.
Hello. Hey. Oh, yeah, I'm in it right. Oh yeah, I'm in.
Muted.
Yeah. In the other. Okay, I'll try and go back and leave. I don't, oh, you know what? I might not even